very distinctive little lick that starts off and ends James Taylor's tune, "You Can Close Your Eyes." Now, this is a, like most James Taylor songs, he has a real free-form style of picking, and so reproducing exactly what he did on the particular album that you're probably the most familiar with, this one, Mudslide Slim and the Blue Horizon, is not really going to be the focus of this lesson, as much as, well, learning the song is going to be the focus. But the real point of this is going to be to take some of James' very noticeable techniques and licks and learn to do them in the style that he does, which is different every time. So we're going to learn to do a little bit of strumming. Sometimes he does this finger-strumming kind of thing, where he's using his right hand fingers. He does it with his index finger. I usually will do it with my middle fingers and my index finger, and I'll explain more about that as we get into the right hand techniques in there. But a lot of times he just does something like this. Light strumming, particularly while he's singing. Then he has measures that have standard Travis picking. 4 bass notes per measure, and just keeping a steady alternating bass pattern. Sometimes, not so much in this song, but every once in a while he'll go into an arpeggio pattern. And other times he'll just be playing a, a chord and putting a passing bass note into the next chord. So we hear this kind of thing. And then nice little licks. And this free-form style of sometimes picking, sometimes strumming, and sometimes adding bass notes. So I do have tablature and a chart that'll put this all together. So the first thing we have to get familiar with is the chord progression and be able to pick through it. Now we're going to be doing this lesson, well, and then the next thing is apply some of the strumming techniques and the little fills that are, syncopation. Something else that happens in this song. Of course, now in the original recording, he, at the very end, overdubbed a couple extra guitar parts and a lot of extra harmony of him singing most of it. So we're going to look at more the way he would do it now by himself, solo, just one guitar and one voice. Although there are great videos that you got to check out of this. Going way back to 1970, there are some that he clearly recorded before. There's a BBC one that he clearly recorded before he did the album, because he hadn't gotten some of these parts quite dialed in yet. Now, as he plays it later, into the 90s and more recently, he doesn't play that syncopated part as much either. So we're going to, again, look at a lot of different things. He also plays it in different keys or capoed at different places. Now, originally, when he still had, before he had his James Olsen guitars, he had a Gibson Dreadnought. And this guitar he frequently kept, there's a better picture of it inside here more. And this guitar he frequently kept tuned down a half step for various reasons. I'm not going to speculate on it too much right now. And so the original recording from Mudslide Slim is in the key of E flat. Now, the way he played it back then, we're going to be following chords in the key of D, more or less. But the original recording, if you want to get in tune with that, capo to the 1st fret. In the early days, there's one of these videos that shows him playing it in E flat, but the capo's at the 2nd fret, which means the guitar was tuned down a half step. He probably liked the tone of his guitar better, tuned down a half, rather than being at standard pitch. When he sings harmony to this, there's a version of him singing this with Joni Mitchell, and she sings the melody, and he sings the harmony part, which is a little higher than what he would normally sing. He gets rid of the capo completely and plays it in the key of D. So don't worry too much about matching up with him. If you want to play with the Mudslide Slim version, put a capo at 1. If you want to play with some of the later live versions where he's singing the melody, capo at 2. And if you track down the video of him singing the duet version with Joni Mitchell, capo off. So we're going to do this lesson, capo off. And we're going to learn all the cool little stuff. There's this intro, which you just heard me play. He strums and picks through a chord progression for the verse, and another one for the chorus. And it's not that hard to play, but the tricky thing to James Taylor songs is smooth transitions from this type of picking into strumming. And then the passing bass notes. So that is what I hope to demystify in this lesson on You Can Close Your Eyes. Well, that was the first segment on an 8-part lesson that I put together for James Taylor's You Can Close Your Eyes. And what the next segments do is go through all the left hand, taking a close look at all the chords, some of the right hand techniques that James uses, then understanding the chord progression, which is a really important thing in any song. Then we get into the specifics, where we take a look at the tablature that I put together for it and the chart that has the chords. So this is just another one of the very detailed lessons that are part of the Target program at Totally Guitars. If you haven't seen any of our stuff, we also have a lot of free lessons there to get you started on, but the Target program is really where the meat of everything is. Close to 500 lessons up there now, and most of them work on songs that have important techniques in them. And in this